Well, I'm replacing the shift boot on the Suzuki, and I went to take this off, and it was like really hard. I think I epoxied on there because it was loose. And you can see there's a hole here, which gives you a draft, right? So I'm putting a new one on. So I went to take this off. So I figured it's, I was going to use a strap wrench. I says, let me use the channel locks with some Gorilla Tape around it. And I had the channel locks on this side and the other channel locks like this. And of course, this on this side, you push it this way, right? And this holds it so you don't damage the bushings down there in the transmission. Well, I must have epoxied this on a long time ago, and I was getting it loose, but it's like the threads must be stripped. It's not coming loose, and I can't pull it off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put a slice in his boot right here, and then I'll use I'll put a piece of rubber over it, chemically clean it off of this, piece of rubber off from this, chemically clean it, and glue it on there with some kind of really good epoxy, and put a tie around this to tie it nice and tight. So that's the only way I'm going to be able to do this crap, because it's impossible to come off this damn thing. Just, you could take it off cutting it, then I'll have to buy another one of those, and I'll have to go online and get that. And I says, well, I'm just going to do this, because you're not going to see a little patch over this, and it's not going to leak any air. So that's how we'll do it. This, you just lift the rug up, and you got 4 bolts. Well, you can see it down here. You can see it right here. There's one right there. Put the light on it. There's one right there. One up here someplace, and it just pops out. So get this off. We're gonna have to cut this, make something for it, and it'll work because it's been in there for umpteen years. But I noticed I had a draft, and it was coming through that hole right there. So if you can see that right there. A lot of air gushing through that sucker, man, especially when you're in 5th gear, because then it's forward. Now what you could do also is just sew that together. You could sew from here to here and just sew it together. That'll pretty much hold it too, but I figure I'll replace it. But man, I was surprised that it was that difficult to get off. And like I said, the only way you can get it off is to use a cutoff wheel, but I don't want to do that. So anyway, we'll just cut it. We'll just cut it, and that'll do it. Okay, you can see what a huge hole the other one had. That's why so much air was coming in. So you could actually sew this together. I don't know, it might hold for a while, but that would not really last. And so I split this boot, but you can see it's not gonna, it's right where the split was anyway, where it was hermetically sealed, whatever. So when I put super weather strip adhesive in there and a tie around here, it's never going to go anywhere. And then you got to drill some holes in the rubber right here for the bolts. And I was missing a bolt, so I found one. It's a little long. I'm going to cut it down with the Dremel and put that in there. So anyway, got the Dremel right here. Okay, you want to start all the little bolts in there ahead of time so they're threaded through the rubber. Makes it easier to line up with the metal. I got a little star washer on this new bolt that I cut. And also for this, what I'm going to use to repair that split is not weather strip adhesive, it's emblem adhesive. That stuff will never come apart in a million years. Plus a little tie around there, so it's a lot easier doing it that way. Okay, so it's bolted in. It's got all 4 bolts instead of 3, which probably had a leak there too. And as far as this piece up here, when I close this up, it's going to close together, of course, with the twist ties, but using this stuff, 3M emblem adhesive. That stuff glues on emblems on cars for like 20 years. It's probably stronger than the original joint where it was sealed together with the rubber. This stuff will not come apart ever. Plus it'll have ties on there. Plus, even with this little split up here, there's way less leak, but it won't leak at all when it's done, and it'll last That's one way around it. Okay, so that's done. And you know, I was getting more cold air in, or maybe about as much air in from that hole that was in that thing as probably the heater. So I noticed it would, even when it was like 45 degrees and I was going about 50 miles an hour down the road, it was getting cool. I was like, where the hell is this coming from? Because I sealed up the windows good. You know, got that on there. These are on here. And by the way, I decided to start digging down a little further in this carport thing, because if I decide to put a few inches of lift on it with some new springs, it won't hit the roof that way. I'll just go down a few inches and that'll do it. Then I'll put some brick down there or something, paving stones. That'll work. Cheap way, right? By the way, that shift boot, this shift boot is only like 25 bucks versus getting them like 40, 50 bucks OEM from Suzuki. It came from India, so works fine for me.